Susan Graham-White is my guest today on FM Odyssey. She has a new album out, her first one in 15 years, and the name of it is called Lost Art, and the title track kind of speaks for itself, but I was wondering what your motivation was for writing this.
I always loved songwriting. I was just always fascinated by it. And I sought out listening to great songwriters. Many of them, or most of them, I should say, were also great performers and singers, but it didn't really even matter to me if they were just writing great songs. I really was nurtured by that and looked for that, and that was an important thing for me. The lyrics were important to me, the melodies, those things that really meant something or were emotive in some way, and really got to me. I don't see that much of that now, certainly not on the commercial radio, and I think that we need to get back to really good songwriting, and it is becoming a lost art. In a single conversation, I'm shrinking in your eyes. Now I wonder what you'll promise me and how you sleep at night. With every step you've taken, you get further from the mark. What happened to sincerity? Maybe it's a lost art. Each day it's getting harder to tell the truth from lies, and I'm afraid I'll find my future in a politician's eyes. What happened to our vision? Are we reaching in the dark, searching for sincerity? Maybe it's a lost art. Is this what lies before us? Trusting in no one. Do you shake your head in anger? What have we done? What have we done? What will be our legacy? What part of us survives? What relics can they cherish when they excavate our lives? If someday they discover in the ruins of our hearts the bones of our sincerity, just another lost art. The bones of our sincerity, just another lost art.
You know, Susan, there was a a favorite lyric of mine in a song that Trish Murphy did years ago. And when I first heard the lyric, I thought, wow. And that lyric always stuck with me as one of my favorite lyrics. And the lyric was, I got this handbag full of sin. It's something I carry my hell around in. And I just fell in love with that until I heard, I called you here tonight because I need to confess the paint by number set I bought has made my life a mess. And that, of course, is from the song Surrender, which is on this new record of yours, Lost Art. So now Trish has got competition. It's like, wow.
That's a song that I co-wrote with Caroline Horn, with my great friend Caroline Horn. And yeah, I can't take full credit for that one. I love that song too. She and I wrote that song together a number of years ago, and I'm sure that she has never gotten to record it. So I was really glad that I got to do it because it's never been recorded before.
Well, let's take a listen to it. This is the song Surrender that appears on the new Susan Graham White album called Lost Art, her first album in 15 years. And she is my guest today on FM Odyssey.
You here tonight, 'cause I need to confess, this paint by number set I bought has made my life a mess. Now the truest thing I ever did was come off masqueraded. I don't know how the dancer and the dance got separated. Like Mary, I have birthed this thing. Like Adam, I will name it. And I will not mow you down. And this year, I will not raise it. Oh, surrender is a place so far away from pride, and yet somehow courageous and strangely dignified. One step before the edge, you decide to let go. I surrender. I surrender. Too hard at love. Oh, I've loved my work too much. I've pushed to move the boundaries when they only beg to touch. Now the sweat is in my eyes, white kerchief in my hand, and it's lonely on this battlefield. It's not what I had planned. So how can I get back to what I savored at the start? Oh, the visions in my head, golden fields of a purple heart. Oh, surrender is a place so far away from pride, and yet somehow courageous, strangely dignified. One step before the edge, you decide to let go. Surrender is a place so far away from pride, and yet somehow courageous, strangely dignified. One step before the edge, you decide to let go.
Welcome back to FM Odyssey. This is Fred Migliore. Susan Graham White is my guest. Her new album is called Lost Art. There's a song on this new album that you sent me a demo of more than maybe 15 years ago, whenever it was. And I remember seeing you perform this in concert, and I remember the first time I heard it, it just brought me chills, and apparently it did to a whole bunch of other people, because we've actually played the demo of the song, the piano, for the last 15 years from time to time from you. And it's so great to see that you included that on this new record.
And finally got to do it with the string part that I always wanted. And again, Charlie Barnett did just a super job of writing the string part behind that, because it always felt like that song was just a mini theater piece almost, and needed all of that to really bring it fully to life. The times that I performed that song, that was always one that everybody remembered that song. Everybody would come up to me afterwards and talk to me about it. And it's a true story. It's not my story. I tell people, some people come up and they kind of look at me and go, did you ever get, well, of course, when I'd perform it, I'd be playing the piano part. But so obviously I learned to play piano. But it was not my story, but it is an absolute true story that was told to me by the person that it happened to.
And I remember asking you years ago, so I'm not going to ask you. I remember asking you years ago who it was that you wrote the song about, and you said, I'll never tell, so I'm not going to ask you that. So why don't we take a listen to it in its final form after all these years. Susan Graham White is our guest today on FM Odyssey.
My sister played piano. My father made her practice every day. She took a lesson after lesson, obedient to everything he'd say. My sister was the oldest, and father chose her for the one. And though she tried her best to please, she could never love those keys. I used to sit and listen. I'd let the music carry me away. For me it was pure magic. No one knew how much I longed to play. But I was so much younger, and I could only dream that someday I would learn. I couldn't wait to have my turn. After years of blind submission, at 17 my sister took a stand. She refused to take more lessons. She said she'd never touch the keys again. My father never said a word, but his eyes were hard as stone. I can see his face so clear, I can almost taste my fear. My father took the piano, and in a rage he pushed it down the stairs. Then he moved it to the backyard and chopped it into pieces while he stared. Oh, I watched him light the fire, and my dreams turned into ashes in the air. Can he see that I'm the one? I'm too late and I'm too young. As I watch the burning keys, I can't move, I can't breathe.
Susan Graham-White has been our guest today on FM Odyssey. So how does it feel getting back into the radio thing? Is it like riding a bike, doing the interview thing? I mean, what do you think?
Oh, it's great talking to you. I've got to say, as you know, I had said before that I used to do a lot of radio shows, and I certainly enjoyed doing them all. But boy, that when I got to talk to you, Fred, it was the best. You do a great job, and I just you can put people at ease and get things out of us that other people can't sometimes.
Well, and just for the record, Susan is not a paid actor. Okay, so thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. The song that ends off the new CD, Boundaries. Okay, so now we're talking about the Duke Ellington School of the Arts Ensemble. And if that isn't enough, folks, when you hear this song, there is a woman at the end of this that just wails on this song. Her name is Marianne Redmond. And I remember hearing this, and I'm like listening to it, and I'm like, who is that? and it was perfect. Yeah. Obviously, track selection for a CD is very important also, and I think this is exactly where it needs to be at the end. Tell us about the Duke Ellington School of the Art Ensemble, and tell us about Marianne Redmond and how you ended up with this. Well,
Marianne Redmond is a fantastic blues singer who lives here in Virginia. And I've been a fan of her for years, but I had never actually met her, except I got to meet her through Dusty Rose, and he introduced us, and we hit it off. She's an amazing person. I'll tell you a funny story. When we did Boundaries, when we started with that song, John Carroll, the wonderful pianist that he is, he was in here doing the piano part for it. And he played through it once, and I said to him, I want the feel to this to be kind of like it starts out in the Methodist church and it ends in the Baptist church. And he really got it and played this just with the feel, the way that I wanted it, because this song is a very spiritual song. And so then we recorded the vocal, of course, and Dusty and I were sitting there talking, and I don't know which one of us said it first, frankly, that, turned and said, we need a gospel choir. As luck would have it, here at Q Studios, this choir was coming through to do some recording from the Duke Ellington School. Dusty was lucky enough to talk to them about doing this for us as well. So they came in, and it was this amazing group of young people with a wonderful conductor. And then on top of it, the day that we did this recording, Marianne stopped by and just like popped in the studio, hey, and we're talking. So we're like, Marianne, can we use you too? And she and Dusty actually did the vocals. They were sort of the vamping vocalists there at the end in with the choir. One of the things I absolutely loved about that session was seeing those young singers, those young performers, the looks on their faces as they watched Dusty and Marianne singing this stuff, because, they were very structured singers, shall we say, and hearing them vamp and seeing the way they sang and everything, it was a really fun experience for them. We knew as soon as we finished it had to be the last piece. It had to end with that.
Your future on a thin white sheet. You're gonna sign and sign on the dotted line. And here is decision, both dark and sweet. When you draw that line, it's such a hard line. At the edge of our compassion, the borders where we fell, we must learn to cross those boundaries and forgive ourselves, forgive ourselves. In a holy voice, you're gonna stand in line for the bread and wine. And what will you pray for when you've made your choice and you cross that line? It's a very fine line. At the edge of inspiration, with the names we call for help, we must learn to cross those boundaries and forgive ourselves, forgive ourselves.
So where can folks get this?
They can get the album from CD Baby. They can download it from iTunes, Amazon. Gosh, I think it's just about everywhere at this point, really. All the music outlets have it now.
Okay, and they can also Google it. So it's called Lost Art, and it's the new album from Susan Graham White. And Susan has been our guest today on FM Odyssey. Thank you so much for sharing this, and thank you so much for having the courage to come back and do this record, do this music, and continue to shine your light in this world that so desperately needs your light, Susan. Thank you for reconsidering and doing what you do best. And most of all, welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Fred. I really appreciate that, and I count my blessings through it all.
And that's a wrap for this week's edition of FM Odyssey. Thank you, Susan Graham White and Dusty Rose, and also Steve Matteo and Al Basio in New York and Marshall Wright in Florida. And a special thanks to my mentor, Pete Fornatel, for inspiring this show so many years ago. FM Odyssey is produced from Merritt Island, Florida and Long Island, New York. This is Fred Migliore. Until next week, pay attention to the poets. You need them, and you know it.